In this video, we're going to go through on PSLE 2013 paper 1. So if you want to get your free PSLE 10-year series, you can go to easy1.sg/PSLE. So let's get started on the first question. All right, so the first question says, which digit in 68.57 is in the 10th place? So there are four options over here. So if I were to write 68.57, let's go through on each digit and what place are they. So for 6, what do you think the place is? If you answered 10th place, then you're right. What about 8? All right. What do you think the place is? If you answered ones place, then you're right. So what about 5? What place is it? So you might be thinking, oh, it must be a 1th place. And there's no such thing as a 1th place. So if you think it's a 1th place, then you're wrong. So it's actually the 10th place. And lastly, 7, what do you think it is? So if you answered 100th place, then you're right. So which is in the 10th place? So the answer is number 5 over here. And there you go. Question number 2. Express 10 or 1090 centimeters in meters. Okay, so in order for us to convert any, like for example, 100 centimeters, it's equal to 1 meter. And how we do that is we need to be divide by 100. So 100 centimeters divided by 100 is equal to 1 meter over here. So then, if we were to say 1000 centimeters, what do you think the number of meters is? So it is 1000, then we divide it by 100, which is equal to 10 meters. So wait, let me, okay, then what about, so we know that is 10 meters. What about 90? So we always want to break down, right? In this case is 1090. It's equal to 1000 plus 90 centimeters. Okay. So we have 1000 and then let's go to 90 centimeters. So 90 centimeters. So we know that 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So what about 90 centimeters? So we have 90 divided by 100, and this will become, is it 0.9 or 0.09? So if you answer 0.9, then you're right. So that means for 1090 centimeters, this will equal to 10 meters or 10 plus 0.9, and this will give us 10.9 meters, which is option number C. There you go. Okay, question number 3. In the square grid below, which shape is a rhombus? So let's quickly go through on the property of a rhombus. So the property of the rhombus is two things. All sides are the same length and all sides are parallel to each other. So what we need to do is we need to see whether they are the same length and whether they are parallel. So in this case over here, let's go to option number 1. So option number 1, so also at the same time, I'm going to put here as like 1. Okay, so 1 and this is 2. So why we do this is so that if we know that 1 is correct or not. Okay, so in this case, let's go to option number 1. So all sides are parallel to each other. Okay, so that means in this case, the property number 2 is correct. So I'm going to put a tick here. So let's put a tick. Where is my tick? Okay. So 2 is correct. But what about 1? All sides are the same length. So how do we measure length for something in the grid? So how we can do that is we can measure the how it forms a triangle. So in this case, this forms a triangle, right? That's what you see over here. For any diagonal kind of thing over here. Okay. So over here, since this is a triangle and this is not really a triangle, it's a straight line, and this is 3 square length. But for this case, is it more than 3 square length? Probably is. So in this case over here, the number 1, all sides are the same, is not the same length. So therefore, that means 1 and 1 is not, 2 is yes, but sadly 1 is not the correct answer. Okay, let's move on to number 2. So number 2 over here, we have all sides are parallel to each other, right? But obviously this is not a rhombus. This is a rectangle because the length over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6. And then the length over here is 2. So same thing with option number 1. All sides are parallel, but they are not the same length. So in this case, number 2 is wrong. Okay, so what about number 3? So number 3, I think if you know, number 3, it's a, okay, I don't know if you know, but is 3 all sides parallel to each other? No, right? And are they the same length? No as well, because this one over here is not the same length. So therefore, for option number 3, so number 1, they are not the same length, and number 2, they are also not parallel to each other. So option number 3 is an X. How about number 4? So number 4, you can use a ruler to measure whether they are parallel to each other, but all sides are parallel to each other. That's what you see over here. Then the next thing is, how can we measure that if they are the same length? So if it's a diagonal line over here, what we can do is we can put in the triangle. We form a triangle, right? As what we've mentioned earlier. So this is 3, and then this is 1. Oops, 1 over here. Okay. And then we measure the other side. This is 3 as well, and this is 1 as well. Then we measure here as well. This is 1, this is 3. Oops, I don't want to make it big. This is 3, this is 3 as well. And then we also know that this is 1. So that means all sides are the same length as well. So in this case, 1 and 2 are the same. I mean, one, yes, 1.1 over here, all sides are the same. So that means this is true. And all sides are the same, parallel to each other. This is also true. That means number 4 is the correct answer. So the answer for question number 3 is option D, or option number 4. Question number 4. The pie chart shows the favorite colors of a group of children. What percentage of the children chose blue as their favorite color? So let's see if you know the answer. I think it's pretty straightforward as well. Okay, so from here, what we know is that there are the different percentages for the different colors. So let's have red plus yellow plus green, and we calculate, right? So it's 15% for red, plus yellow is 30, plus green is 15, and this gives us 60%. Therefore, blue will be equal to 100%, which is the whole of the pie chart, minus 60%, and this will give us 40%. Right, pretty straightforward. So the answer to this is option number C, or 3 in this case. All right, question number 5. In the number line below, what is the number indicated by the arrow? So let's look into this. First, we need to know what is the gaps, right? The number of gaps. So we have 1 gap over here, 2 gaps, 3 gaps, 4 gaps, and 5 gaps. So in between the two numbers, it is, in this case over here, 10. The difference is 10. So we can write down 5 gaps is equal to 10, right? And then for the arrow over here, how many gaps are there? So 1 and 2. So we can write down 1 gap is equal to 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. And then 2 gaps is equal to 2 times 2 equal to 4. So the arrow, it's basically 100 because we have the 100 nearest to this arrow. And we can just plus 4. And this will give us 104. And there you go. So that's the answer. 104, which is option B or option number 2. Question number 6. Which one of the following is closest to the reading shown in the weighing scale below, on the weighing scale below? Okay. So what we can do is we can look at it similar to what do you call this, the gaps, right? So in this case, we want to know what is the difference between the two numbers. So from 20 to 22, the difference is 2. And then how many gaps are there? So we have 1 gap, 2 gap, 3 gap, and 4 gap. So 4 gaps is equal to 2, right? And then 1 gap is 2 divided by 4. Okay, so you can think of it as 2.0 divided by 4, right? So which in this case is 0.5. Okay, so now we know that one gap is 0.5. So how many gaps are there between 20 and the scale over here? So if you look at this, 20, so 20.5 over here. So we know it's more than 20.5. So the arrow is more than 20.5. Okay, so A cannot be the correct answer. B cannot be the correct answer. So it's either C or D. So it says here D is 21.1 kg. So from this, we also know that arrow is more than 20.5, but it's less than, since it's 2 gaps, right? So 2 gaps is equal to 0.5 times 2, which is 1. So that means arrow is more than 20.5. Okay, so if I were to just put it here, arrow is more than 20.5, but less than 20, or not 20, but 21. Okay, so in this case, the answer that is closest to this sentence is 20.6. There you go. So that's the answer. All right. What is the value of 10 plus 3y divided by 2 when y is equal to 4 for question number 7? Okay, so in this case over here, we know that y is equal to 4. So that means the equation 10 plus 3y out of 2, it's actually, I mean, you probably know, Lara, is the same as 10 plus 3y divided by 2. So what we can do is we can just swap the 3y with 4. So what that means is it's just 10 plus, so usually you just need to bracket this, 3 times 4, and then you divide it by 2. So if you know order of operations, then that means we need to always have the brackets from left to right to calculate first. So you have 12 divided by 2. And then we always want to have from left to right the divide or multiply. So 10 plus 12 divided by 2 is 6. And lastly, we have 16. So the answer to this question is 16. There you go. Question number 8. Chiang rented a bicycle for 3 hours. How much did he pay? So we have how much for the first hour and how much for every additional half an hour. Okay, so in this case over here, it's actually pretty straightforward. So what you need to do is, in this case, you can just put in the first hour as $7. So the remaining hours after the first hour is 3 hours minus 1 is equal to 2 hours. So we know that additional half an hour, okay, is equal to $3. So in this case, what you can do is, so what is the additional or number of blocks for this is blocks of additional half hour, right? In this case, right? Number of blocks for additional half hour will then be equal to 1.5 divided by 2. Okay. So, or essentially, sorry, 2 divided by half. So, which is equal to 2 times 2. Okay. So, if you know dividing by fractions, you change the divide to multiply and you flip the fraction. So, this will be then equal to 4. So, you have 4 number of blocks of additional half an hour. So, then the additional, right, hours cost will then be equal to 4 times 3 equal to dollars 12. So now if we add the first hour plus $12, so in this case total is equal to dollars 12 plus and dollar 7. So dollar 7, this will become dollars 19. So the answer to this question is option number 2 or B over here, which is $19. All right, so question number 9. Which one of the following fractions is closest to 1? Okay, so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it out for you. So give me a sec. Okay, so I've drawn out like a simple model over here. Okay, so you have 5 over 6, so you have missing one here. 7 out of 8, missing one here. 6 out of 5, which is an excess of 1 here. And 8 out of 7, which is an excess of 1 here. So you might be like, oh, it's a bit confusing because there's an excess and there is a shortage, right? In this case over here, right? So which one is the closest to 1? So yeah, this is a tricky question. But if I were to just push this out over here and this out over here, let me just push this out over here. So which one do you think is the shortest one if I were to really zoom it in? Okay, so you remember the 5 7, so always look at the denominator 6 8 5, right, and the 7 1 over here. So if I were to just, because it's the 1 point over here, if I were to just move, which one is the closest? And if you see it barely, the winner, as you can see, is the blue one, which is 7 over 8. So the shortest distance, if I were to just put here, right, the shortest distance to number 1, whether they are a shortage or excess, is actually 7 out of 8. And if you already guessed, right, it doesn't matter. I mean, it kind of matters, but basically, if it's an excess or a shortage of 1 from the denominator, then the only thing that you need to care about is which one of the denominator is the highest. And in this case, the highest is 7 out of 8. So therefore, the answer is option number 3 or C in this case over here. All right. Question number 10. Devi sent a letter weighing 32 grams to India and a letter weighing 10 grams to Australia by airmail. How much did she pay all together? All right. So we have a table that show you the different rates of the India and Australia, and the first 20 grams and every additional 10 grams is what you see over here. Okay, so let's go with India first. So for India, first 20 grams would be equal to $0.65, right? Or 65 cents in this case over here. So that means the remaining India weight or mass in this case would then be 32 minus 20, which is 12 grams. So with this additional 10 grams, India is equal to the remaining 12 grams divided by 10. And we want to just round it up, and this will just be 1. So that means the additional India cost will then be equal to 1 times, which is India 0.25. So just put 0.25, and this will just be 25 cents, right? 0.25 cents. So now we figured out India. The next thing is we want to go for Australia. So for Australia is the same thing. So we only have the letter for 10 grams. So for Australia, first 20 grams will just be $1.10. But we don't have any remaining because 10 grams is less than 20 grams. So that means we'll just have to pay $1.10. So now with this, we can just add them up. So total cost will then be equal to 1.1 for Australia plus India cost, which is 25 cents, and then plus 0.65. And if you were to calculate it, so 25 plus 65 is equal to 90 cents. So usually what I like to do is I like to break down my workings so that it's easier to check whether I'm correct. Okay, so 25 plus 65 is actually 0.90. And if you were to add 1 point or $1.10 plus 90 cents, it will then become $2.00. So the answer to this question is option number 3 or C in this case over here. All right, that's it. Question 11. A repeated pattern is formed using the numbers 1 and 0. 0. The first 18 numbers are shown below. What is the sum of the first 100 numbers? So if you see the pattern, you see, if I were to just make this a little bit bigger, right? So it is 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, so from here, I think you probably can see the pattern. So you have 1 0 1 0 1 1 like this. Okay, and then it repeats again. 1 0 1 0 1 1, and then 1 0 1 0 1 1. Oops. I don't know why this is that. Okay, yeah, like this. So what we can do is we can write down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that means the pattern is 6 numbers. Okay. And the first 80 numbers. So what is the sum of the first 100 numbers? So we know the pattern is 6 numbers, and the sum of the pattern numbers, okay, or sum of one group of pattern numbers is equal to, and we can just manually calculate, right? So it's just 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0. I mean plus 1 and 1. So it's 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1. Okay. And what would this be equal to? So this will equal to 4. Okay. All right. So now we want to know what's the number of groups. Okay. So number of pattern groups would then be equal to 100 divided by 6. Okay. So in this case, you can do, manual division. So I think for this will be, let me think, it should be around 13 or 14, 15. 15 times 6 is 90. So 51. Okay. 51. 6. No, no, it's not 51. So it should be 16, right? Remainder 4. Okay. So the now pattern of groups is 16 remainder 4. So we need a remainder 4, right? Why? Because we have the remainder 4. That means it stops at the fourth position. So 100 numbers stop at the fourth one. That's what I say over. So I can write here fourth. at the fourth position, as what you see over here. Okay. So now we know that the 100 numbers stop at fourth, right? As what you see over here. Then we need to just put sum of numbers for first four numbers. Okay. Which is equal to 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0, which is equal to 2. Therefore, the sum of first 100 numbers will be equal to, so we have got 2, right? And then we also know that there's 16 pattern groups. So it's 2 plus 16 pattern groups times the sum, which is in this case 4, right? So what is 16 times 4? It's basically 2 plus, I can just make it simpler, 16 times. It's basically 16 times 2 times 2. Okay. So this is how I calculate. Break it down easier because 4 is 2 times 2, right? So 2 plus, so 16 times 2 is 32 times 2. And then this will then be equal to 64, right? And 64 plus 2 equal to 66. Right, there you go. So the answer to this question is option number 3, which is 66. All right. Question number 12. A piece of paper in the shape of an equilateral triangle is folded along the dotted lines as shown below. Find angle X. Okay, so if you want to know more about folded angles, you can go to our website easy1.sg/blog to find out more about these folded angles and other concepts to help you score that AL1 in PSLE or your math exams, weighted assessment, and tests. Okay, so for this question, for folded angles, what you need to know is that, so you see this 102 degrees. So that means if you see something folded, it usually means that the angle that is beside it is also the same. So this is also 102 degrees in this case over here, right? So since we know this is 102 degrees, it's also the same as the unfolded uh, part over here. So 102 degrees. Okay, so let's concentrate a bit more on this 102 degrees. Okay, so in this case, if you know the angles that's folded, the angles beside is the same. That means this x over here, we also know that this angle is 60 degrees. So I'm going to put here 60 degrees. So we know this is 60. And we also know that for this angle, let me just make this a bit smaller. This angle is equal to this angle as well. So if you know this particular angle, we can just multiply it by 2 and then we just minus off from 60 degrees and the answer will be x. So we just need to find this purple angle. So what is this purple angle? The purple angle is over here. And how do we get this purple angle? Since we know that this whole thing, right? This whole thing is a triangle, right? So, and we also know that this whole triangle is a equilateral triangle. So that means this is 60 degrees. So if we know two angles in a triangle, we can find the other angle, which is this purple angle. So what we can do is we have 180 minus 102 minus 60. So 180 minus 102 will be 78 minus 60. And this will give us 18 degrees. So 18 degrees is equal to the purple angle. That's what you see over here. I think it's this one or this one. I think it's this color. All right, yes. So we know this 18 degrees. That means this also is 18 degrees and this is also 18 degrees as well. So since we know that the corner over here is 60 degrees, then we can just minus off 18 and 18 and we can get x. So angle x is equal to 60 minus 18 minus 18. So it's essentially 60 minus 36, which is equal to 24 degrees. So I see over here. So option number 3, or C in this case over here, is the correct answer. All right. Question 13. Mrs. Lim bought some white rice and some brown rice. I love brown rice. She cooked an equal amount of white and brown rice. She had 3/4 of the white rice and 3/8 of the brown rice left. What fraction of the rice which Mrs. Lim bought was cooked? Okay, so we know that the white rice and the brown rice, I mean, they have she cooked an equal amount of white and brown rice. Okay, so this is what we call an equal fraction. Okay, so why is it an equal fraction concept? If you want to know more about this, you can go to easy1.sg/blog to learn more about equal fraction concept and also other concepts to help you score, improve your grades in your PSLE, math exams, math weighted assessment, or math tests. So, equal fraction concept is basically knowing that there is an equal amount of two things and they are in the form of fractions. So, we know that the white rice that is left is equal to 3/4. So that means the white rice that is cooked is 1 minus 3/4, which is equal to 1/4. Then for the brown rice, I like brown rice. Actually, not brown, but red, even more chewy. But yes, brown rice left, we know that is 3/8. Okay, in this case. So with this, we also know that the brown rice cooked is equal to 1 minus 3/8. In this case, is equal to 5/8. So we know that the white rice cooked is equal to the brown rice cooked. Okay, so that's step 1 of this equal fraction concept. We need to know what are the things that are equal. So in this case, we know that the white rice cooked, okay, is equal to the brown rice cooked, as what you see over here, right? Like this. Then we can just put 1/4 is equal to 5/8. So 1/4 white is white is equal to 5/8 brown. So the next step is we need to, so I will say step 2 is we need to make the numerators the same. Okay, so that means we get the lowest common multiple of 1 and 5. Okay, so to get the same, which is equal to 5, right? So that means for the white rice, we have to have 1 times 5. But we must not only change the numerator, we also must change the denominator. So that means 4 times 5 as well of white is equal to 5/8 brown. So what does that turn into? So 5, 1 times 5 is 1 times 5 is 5, 4 times 5 is 20. White equal to 5/8 is brown. All right. So from here, we can go to step 3. So step 3 is to just convert 2 units. So in this case, total white, so or you can say white cooked, white rice cooked is equal to 5 units. And we also know that the white rice total is the denominator. Okay, so we know because white rice cook is 5 units, then 20 is the total. So it should be 20 units. And we also know that for the brown rice, 5/8. So this will be 5 units as well. The denominator, which is 8, is the total. Sorry, brown rice total is 8. So that means we need to get the total of the fraction of the rice which Mrs. Lim bought was cooked. So total rice is equal to 20 plus 8 equal to 28 units, and total rice cooked, right? Total rice cooked is equal to 5 plus 5 equal to 10 units. So now we must put the fractions of fraction of rice cooked, or rice cooked from rice total, which is basically 10 over 28. But we need to simplify this. So we can just divide this by 2. So we can just put 10 divided by 2 out of bracket 28 divided by 2. And this will give us 5 over 14. Yes. So if you know how to understand or use equal fractions concept, this is actually pretty straightforward. Otherwise, then it will be a bit tough for you. So in this case, the answer is option number 2, which is B over here, 5 over 14. All right. All right. Question 14. Khalid has two rectangular boxes of different sizes. The length and breadth and height of the larger box are twice those of the smaller box. He packed 24 identical cubes exactly into the smaller box. How many such cubes can be packed exactly into the larger box? All right, so in this case over here, let's say the smaller box, right, is okay, rectangular boxes. Let's say the smaller box has all sides as 1 centimeter. Okay, and let's say the bigger box, even though it's rectangular, uh, let's put it something simple, right? Actually, if you want, you can put rectangular boxes as like has not all side. Okay, okay. Let's make it a little bit. Let's say the smaller box has um height, height, so length and breadth. So I'm just gonna simplify this a little bit easier. Let's say smaller box length is equal to 1. Okay, then this is breadth is breadth is 1, and we want to make it rectangular, right? So we are just going to make this as not equal, and you just put 2 here. Okay, so 2. Let's say the smaller box is just this. Okay, so for the bigger box, because to be honest, if you make all the sides the same, it's actually going to be correct. But either way, right? So that means the smaller box volume is equal to 1 times 1 times 2 is equal to 2 centimeter cube. Okay, so let's say this is that. And then for the bigger box, it's twice of everything. So we can literally just put everything like this. So you might be thinking, oh, if the smaller box volume is 2, since everything is twice, then that means the bigger box volume is 4 centimeter cube. Not exactly. So the bigger box is times 2 of the smaller box length. So you just put 1 times 2. So you just multiply everything time by 2, right? So bigger, 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 bigger. Okay, let's see if your guess is correct. All right, so 1 times 2 is 2, and then 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So now we have twice the length, breadth, and the height of the smaller box. So in this case, we can just put the volume 2 times 2 times 4. Is it 4 centimeters? So it's 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 times 4 is equal to 16. Oh, 16. Oh no, what happened? So that means, so number of times bigger is equal to, so 16 divided by 2, which is equal to 8. So that means bigger box is 8 times bigger than the smaller box. So you need to make sure that if you do this working correctly, you will realize that the bigger box is 8 times bigger than the smaller box. So since we know this, if the if the smaller box can contain 24 cubes, that means the bigger box will be 8 times. So 24 times 8. So if you just like times 2, you probably got it wrong. So usually the last question is always the hardest question. Okay, so 24 times 8, it's essentially the same as 20 times 8 plus 4 times 8. So you just break down everything. So it's easier. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this as what you see over here. All right, so then we have 20 times 8 is 160 plus 4 times 8 is 32, and this will be 192. So the answer to this is option number 4, or D in this case over here. All right, there you go. All right, so now we come to paper 1B, question 16, if I'm not wrong. Right, so you can ignore the question 15, but this is question 16. Find the value of 4.8 plus 0.29. So in this case over here, what you need to do is you need to convert all decimal numbers to the longest decimal place. So the longest decimal place is 2 decimal place. So that means 4.8 is equal to 4.80. So with that said, we have 4.80 plus 0.29. So that means it's essentially the same as 4 plus 0.80 plus 0.29. So we can just add 0.80 plus 0.29 first. So it's just 4. And if you know, oops, I'll just put it like this. Okay. So it will be 4 plus 0.80 plus 0.29. It will be equal to 1.09. Okay, so you do your workings to make sure that this is correct. And if you add together, the answer is 5.09. That's it. So that's the answer, 5.09. So question 16, in the figure, KL and MN are straight lines. Find angle X. So we know that if I were to quickly just draw a line, so KL and MN are straight lines. So at the same time, we also know that vertically opposite angles are the same, right? So vertically opposite angles are the same. So that means 120 degrees is equal to X, or angle X, right? So angle X plus 55 is angle X, 55 degrees. So that means angle X is equal to 120 minus 55, which is essentially is 65 degrees. There you go. So that's the answer. So angle X is 65 degrees. All right, next question. Pretty straightforward. Find the value of 1 minus 1/4 minus 1/3. So we know that the denominators are 4 and 3. So we just have lowest common multiple for 4 and 3, which is basically 12. So in this case over here, if I were to just show my workings, right? So, right, we have 1 and then minus, okay, and then we have 1 out of 4. right? And then we minus 1/3. That's what you see over here. So I'm just gonna enlarge this for a bit. Okay, I don't know why it's flipped like that, but just just gotta live with that. Okay, so we have 1 minus 1/4 minus 1/3. So we just have to multiply it by the common multiple, right? 12. So times 3 times 3 times 4 times 4. Okay, so then what will this become? So this will then equal to, so 1 will then be equal to 12 out of 12, because yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so 12 out of 12. So 12, and then you put 12 over here, and then you minus. So 3 times, I mean, 1 times 3 is 4. So this will become 3 out of 12, right? And then we also minus. So this will be 4 out of 12. Okay. So essentially then it will just be 12 minus 3 minus 4. So this will then become 7 out of 12. Okay. So the answer is pretty straightforward. 7 out of 12. So at the same time, with fractions kind of question, you, sorry, 5 out of 12, 3, 4, 7, no 7, 5, 5, 12. So you also need to make sure that if you can simplify this, but since we can't, then that's fine. So we just leave it as 5 out of 12 in this case over here. Okay, that's it. All right. Okay, next question. Question 18. List all common factors of 21 and 45. Okay, so with this, it's pretty straightforward. So what we can do is we can write down common factors, right? So we have 21. So we can break this down. So we have 1 times 21. We can do 2. We cannot. We can do 3 times what? 7. Can we do 4? Nope. Can we do 5? Nope. Can we do 6? Nope. And we do 7. So 7 times 3, and that's it, right? So this is for 21. What about 45? So 45 will be 1 times 45. 2 cannot. 3, yes. 3 times 15. 4 cannot. 5 you can. Times 9. Okay, and then 5. Then we have 6. Nope. 6 cannot. 7. Nope. 8. Nope. And then we have 9. And then 10. 10. Nope. 11. Nope. 12. Nope. 13. Nope. 14. And then we have 15. That's it. Okay, so from here, what is the common factors? So common factors would then be pretty straightforward. It will just be 1. What else? 3. And that's it. So 1 and 3. That's what you see over here. So 21 and 45, common factors is 1 and 3. All right, so question 19. Find the value of 0.46 times 7t. So over here, we can just do a normal, I would say, multiplication kind of thing, right? So 0.46 times 70 will be the same as 0.46 times 10 times 7. Okay, and this will become 4.6 times 7. Okay, so it's the same. So with this, it's actually much easier for you to do your workings as what you see, right? So I'm going to do the workings really, really fast. All right, so here's my workings. So we have 6 times 7, which is 42. So you put 2 and you put 4 at the over here. Then we have the dot here, right? So remember you have a dot, so you just move the decimal as well. Okay. Then 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 4 is 32.2. So the answer to this is 32.2. And that's it. All right, next question. Draw two straight lines to form a symmetric figure with xy as the line of symmetry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this way bigger. That's why you see over here. So xy is the line of symmetry. So I'm going to draw a line in the middle and it's in red. Okay, so we know that this is the line of symmetry. So now we can just, trace the other lines as well. So how to do this is, there's many ways, but one way that I think will be a bit easier is to just measure what are the different lines that is crossed. Okay, so the easiest actually not this, but measure this. Okay, so over here we know that this is two spaces. Okay, so that means, or two squares. That means we just put a dot over here. So I'm just gonna put a dot over here. So same thing with the other line. We just measure again, right? So we measure. So this should be not two but three. Okay, oops. So I want the arrow. So this is three. Okay, and then we just measure three as what we see, and we put a dot as well over here. So once you put the dots, then you just connect the dots. Pretty straightforward. So I can just remove this three and this two, except for the middle one. Okay. And then we're going to draw a line from X to the dot, and then from another X to another dot. That's what you see over here. There you go. So now this is a line of symmetry where these two, what is it? Yeah, this shape is a line of symmetry as what you see over here. Okay, and we have two lines, right? One is this purple one, the other one is the green one. So I see over here. So this is two lines. Okay, so that's it. All right. Next question, question 21. Find the value of 4 out of 5 divided by 12. Give your answer as a fraction in the simplest form. So if I were to draw it out, it will look something like this, right? 4 out of 5 divided by 12. Okay, so we know the steps of dividing with fractions. So usually for dividing with fractions, what you need to do is, for the left side, you don't really need to change, or you just make sure that it is a fraction. Second thing is that you need to change the divide to multiply. And then lastly, you have 12, you need to flip it, right? So essentially, this divided by 12, right? If I were to just copy and paste it over here, right? Like I mentioned earlier, forgot. But we need to make sure that all whole numbers are fractions as well. So that means this 12 will be 12 out of 1. Then after that, what we can do is we can do the necessary changes. So 4 out of 5, instead of divide, we have 4 out of 5 times, like what I mentioned earlier. So we just put times. And then we need to flip 12 out of 1 to become uh, 1 out of 12. That's what we see over here. Okay. So from here we can cross multiply. So 4 over here, let me just copy and paste this. Right, 4 over here, we can cancel this and cancel 12. And what we can do is, oops, we can just cancel it out. 12 will then become 3. That's what I see over here, because we divide by 4. So from here, then we can just, let me just push this back. We can then multiply. So this will be 1 out of 15. So 1 out of 5 times 3. So we have 1. So let me just copy this, right? And paste. Oops. Okay. So we have 1. And then we have 5 times 3. That's what I see over here. Like this. And this will then become 1 out of 15. Oops. Oops. Okay. So this will just become 1 out of 15. There you go. So that's the answer. Okay. 1 out of 15. All right. Okay. Question 22. Yumin sold 4K plus 1 tickets on Friday. He sold K more tickets on Saturday than on Friday. How many tickets did he sell altogether? Give your answer in terms of K in the simplest form. Okay, so we know Friday. Friday is 4K plus 1. And we know Saturday is Friday plus K, which is 4K plus 1, plus 1 plus K, which is 5K plus 1. Okay, so how many tickets in total? Which is actually 4K plus 1, okay, plus 5K plus 1. And this will then become 9K plus 2. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, question 23. A square ABCD is made up of one small square, two small triangles, and three large triangles. AC and BD are straight lines. What fraction of the square ABCD is shaded? Okay, so if I were to zoom this in quite a bit. All right, so we know that these two are straight lines. So this one is a straight line, and this one is also a straight line. So we know it is divided by 4. Now the next thing is we want to know how these things, the shaded part, are divided. So one thing to take note is that since this whole thing over here is two small triangles and then one small square. So if we were to, in a way, mimic the same, essentially, it's, if I were to just draw it out, it looks something like this, right? Okay. And then in this case over here, we will have four of the same triangles. So that means everything else will be divided by triangles. So in this case, if I were to just divide this, okay, let me put this properly. So copy paste, I'm going to put it like this. Okay, and then I'm also going to put it like this. So this and this. Okay, I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it the other way like this. Okay, something like this. So it's over here. Okay, so we know that one is 4 parts. So we have 4 parts over here. Then we have 4 parts over here. We have 4 parts over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 parts. So 4 shaded, and we also have 4 shaded over here. So basically, total triangles is equal to 4 times 4, which is 16. And then shaded triangles is equal to, so we have 1, 2, and then 6. 6. Then the fraction for ABCD that's shaded is equal to 6 out of 16, or we can simplify this. We can divide by 4. Oh, no, sorry. We can divide by 2. This will be 3 out of 8. And that's it. Okay, so always remember that if you were to answer in a fraction, you need to make sure you simplify it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 16 divided by 2, 3 out of 8. Correct. All right, that's it. Okay, next question. Question 24. The graph shows the number of computers sold from March to June. So March to June. The number of computers sold in June is equal to the average number of computers sold from March to May. Draw the bar for June in the graph. Okay. So over here, we know a couple of things. So first of all, the number of computers sold in June is equal to the average number of computers sold from March to May. That's what you see over here. Okay, so what we need to do is just write down. Okay, so average in essence is March plus April plus May plus June, and then bracket divided by 4 is equal to June. So this is also equal to, so if you know how to put this divided by 4 to the other side, this essentially means March, April, May plus June is equal to 4 times of June, right? Or 4 June. That's what I see over here. Okay, so 4 June, which is essentially just 4 times June now, right? So then March plus April plus May, and then we just minus June is equal to 4 June, or essentially 4, yeah, 4 June minus June equal to 3 June. So with this, we actually can solve for 3 June, because if we can get the total March, April, and May, and then essentially it will look like this, right? So June is equal to the total of March, April plus May, and then we divide it by 3. And that's how you get June. There you go. So this is how to get it, right? Okay, so we need to calculate March, April, and May. Okay, first we need to know how many are the gaps. So if I were to zoom this in, we've got 0 to 20. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 gaps. So 4 gaps is equal to 20. 1 gap is equal to 20 divided by 4. So give us 5. Okay, so we know 1 gap is 5. So now we can count. So for March, this will be 40. Let me use the line here. 40, 45, and this will be 50. Okay, so I'm going to write down here 50, right, like this. Okay, let's move on. Then let me just put a line as well so it's easier to see, like this. Gonna put red and like that. Okay, so this is 50. Let's move on to the next one. So March, April. So how much is April? So April over is just one line above 60. So this will then be 65. Okay, and lastly we have May. So draw another line. Oops, don't want to do that. Let's move this. Okay, so this is one gap below 100. So this will be 100 minus 5. This should be 95. So let's see over here. 95. Okay, so now we know March, April, and May. So we can calculate March plus April plus May is equal to 50 plus 65 plus 95. Okay, and this will equal to, so if I were to just calculate this, okay, so 50 plus 65 plus 95 is essentially just 160, and this will give 210. So now we know that June is basically March, April, and May divided by 3. So we just swap this out to 210. Okay, so let me just remove the space, right? So, wait, okay, so this will be 210 divided by 3, and this will then become 70. So for June, it's 70. So we need to draw it out as well. So where is 70? So if I were to look at this, 70, let me put it in green, the line as well. 70 is over here. It's above 65, right? So just gonna put dotted. So 70 is over here. Gonna put line as such. So I see over here. Okay, so this 70. Right, I'm going to 65 here. Okay, so with that said, then I'm going to just draw the part. That's what you see over here. Like this. There you go. So June over here is 70. Right, I'll just put here 70. Okay, so now we just need to double confirm. Right, so we need to get the average. So this is to double check. Always double check. So that means we have 210. So average is equal to 210 plus 70. Okay, total. Right, and then we divide it by 4. So that means 280 divided by 4, which is 70, which is correct. There you go. So this is correct over here. I'm going to put a tick. Tick, a tick, a tick. There you go. All right. So 70, the average is the same as June. So average is equal to June. Tick as well. All right. Always double check after you finish a question. And that's it. Okay. Question 25. Kim read 3 books in 2 hours. She took the same amount of time to read the first two books. She took 15 minutes longer to read the third book than the first. How many minutes did she take to read the book? Okay, so let's one unit be amount of time to read to read first and second book. So what does this look like? First book time equal to 1 unit. Second book time is equal to 1 unit. So she says she took 15 minutes longer to read the third book. So in this case over here, not 2 units, 1 unit. So third book is then equal to first, which is 1 unit, plus 15, right? So now we know this. How many minutes did she take to read the third book? So we know that the total 1 unit plus 1 unit plus 1 unit plus 15 is equal to 2 hours. Okay, so we can also make this 2 hours equal to 2 times 60 equal to 120 minutes, right? So you can change these 2 hours to 120 minutes. So from here, we know it's 3 units, right? Plus 15 equal to 120. And then we minus off 3 units equal to 120. Oops, 120 minus 15 equal to 105. So 1 unit would then be equal to 105 divided by 3. So 105 divided by 3, you can just do your calculation, but the answer is 35. Okay, is 35 the answer? No. So how many minutes did she take to read the third book? So third book over here is equal to 1 unit plus 15, which is 35, plus 15, which is equal to 50 minutes. There you go. So the answer is third book, 50 minutes. All right, that's it. Question 26. In the figure, ABCD is a triangle. So A, B, C, sorry, ABCD is a rectangle, not triangle. Okay. All right. So we know BD is equal to BE. Okay. So they have put here. So BD is equal to BE. And then angle BED is equal to 40 degrees, right? BED, so BED is 40 degrees. And angle EDA is 260 degrees. Find CDB. So CDB. That's what you see over here. Okay, so to figure out this angle over here, so what we know is, first of all, is that this rectangle is this corner. Let me just, if only I can rotate this, right? So this is a right angle. Okay, so if you say, oh, right angle divided by 2 equal to 45, no, that's not the answer. Okay, so that's don't do that. Okay, so we know this is a 90 degrees, so I'm just gonna write it here. This is 90 degrees, right? So we know this is 90 degrees. That means we can find this angle as well. So I'm gonna put this as pink, right? This little angle. So since we know this little angle, then the next thing is, since we know that this is an isosceles triangle, right? BED is a isosceles. So that means the angle over here is the same as this angle. So I'm going to draw this out. This over here would then be equal to 40 degrees. 40 degrees. That's what I see over here. So once we are able to get this pink angle, we can minus 40 degrees to get the angle that we're looking for, which is the red angle. That's what you see over here. Right? So, okay, maybe I'll put this as green. Okay, so if we know the green angle, then we can just minus with 40 and we get the red angle. So to get a green angle, what we need to do is, basically, since this whole thing is a circle, we can just put as 360 minus 260 minus 90. And what would this give us? 360 minus 260 is 100 minus 90. This will give us 10. Pretty straightforward. Very good. Like straightforward. So this will then become 10 degrees. Okay, so since this green angle is 10 degrees, then from here we can just minus, right? 40 minus 10. So angle CDB is equal to 40 minus 10, which is equal to 30 degrees. There you go. So that's the answer, 30 degrees. All right, next question, question 27. There are three types of cookies in a box. The ratio of the number of walnut cookies to chocolate cookies is 4 is to 5. The ratio of the number of raisin cookies to the total number of walnut and chocolate cookies is 5 is to 6. What is the fraction of cookies in the box that are chocolate? All right, so let's slowly break it down. So I'm just going to show the drawing. All right, so over here, right, we know, okay, let W be walnut, let chocolate be C be chocolate, and let raisins be R, right? Let R be raisins. So we know over here that walnut is to chocolate, okay, is 4 is to 5. So let me just make this, right? 4 is to 5. We also know that the ratio of the raisin cookies, so R, to the total of walnut plus chocolate is equal to 5 is to 6, like this. Okay. So with that said, we kind of actually can understand or solve this. So for walnut plus chocolate is equal to 4 plus 5, which is 9 units, right? Or 9, okay, just 9 units. Okay. So we know that the total is 9 units. So in a way, RW, so W and C, so that, yeah, okay. So with that, we can actually solve this. So walnut and chocolate, right? The total is 9 units. So we just need to find the lowest common multiple of 9 and 6. Okay, right? Since walnut plus chocolate is the same, chocolate, then we just get the lowest common multiple of 9 and 6. That's what I see over here, right? So actually, I'm just going to write this down here, right? Walnut chocolate is 4 to 5. Raisins and walnut, okay, is 5 to 6. So 9, the lowest common 9 and 6 is actually 18. Okay, 18 over here. Okay. So with that said, what we can do is walnut plus chocolate. So with that, walnut and chocolate is over here. So let me write something down also. So I'll just put it, let WC be walnut plus chocolate. So easier to represent. So I would say R is to WC is to WC. Okay, so I'm gonna put like this. Okay, so it's easier. And then this is W plus C is WC as well. Okay, so we know earlier that raisins to walnut and chocolate is 5 to 6. And then I'm gonna put it like that as well. And walnut and chocolate is 4 to 5. 5. And then also at the same time, we also know that the total is 9 units. So I'm gonna put here 9 like this. Oops. So 9 is to 4 is to 5. That's what I see over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this space a bit bigger. All right, that's what you see over here. Okay, very good. Okay, so from here, what we can do is we can just make this into 18. So how we do that is times 3 for this, and this will be times 3 as well for raisins. And then this one is times 2. So this times 2, and this times 2, and this times 2 as well. So the final one is this, no, okay, I'm going to make extra large. So final one will be 5 times 3. I'll just put an arrow down. Okay, and then 4 and 5 is the same lah. So this would then, let me get 5. Uh, this will then become 15. 1, 5. And we don't really care about the walnut chocolate, but okay lah, I'll just put it. This will be 18. And then 4 will be just 8 is to 5. 8 is to, sorry, not 5, 10. Okay. So now we know the raisins, walnut, and chocolate. Okay, so let's go back to our workings. So then basically raisins, walnut, and chocolate will be 15. So let me just scroll down. 15 is to 8 is to 10. Okay, so what fraction of cookies in the box are chocolate? So let's grab total equal to 15 plus 8 plus 10 equal to 15 plus 18, which is equal to 33. So chocolate is 10, right? In this case, right? Chocolate is 10. So that means fraction of chocolate is equal to 10 divided by 33. That's it. There you go. So that's the answer. Okay, last question. Mr. Chen bought some goldfish at $10 each. He also bought an equal number of anglefish at a different price. The average price of a goldfish and anglefish was $7. Mr. Chen paid $54 more for the goldfish than the anglefish. Angelfish or anglefish? Angel. How many goldfish did he buy? Okay, so over here, what we can do is we can say that goldfish or one goldfish is equal to $10. And then we know that the average price, average price of one goldfish plus one angelfish is equal to $7. Since we know the average price of one goldfish and one angelfish is $7, that means the total price of one goldfish and one angelfish is equal to 7 times 2 equal to $14. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. So that means the angle fish or one angel, I don't know why I say angle. One angel fish is equal to 14 minus 10. Okay, and this is equal to dollars four, right? Fish over here. Okay, so now if I were to draw a simple model, so we have let me write here gold fish, and then we also have angel fish. So angel fish, let me put let me just copy this, right? So we have angel fish as well, angel fish. Okay, and in this case over here, we know that goldfish and angelfish, the difference is, so what's the difference? Difference of angel or gold fish and angel fish is equal to, so we know that's 10 minus 4 equal to $6. $6. All right. So the difference, why we are getting the difference is because Mr. Chen paid $54 more for the goldfish than the angelfish he bought. So what this means is that the goldfish is $6 more, right? Or the easiest way, let me just put like this. This is just $6 more, right? So I'm gonna put here $6, right? Okay, so we know that in one group over here, so this is one group. The difference is $6. That's what I see over here, right? So one group is $6 difference. So if we were to have two groups over here, so two groups, so what do you think the difference is? The difference will be, difference is $12. So in this case, how many groups are there to have the difference of dollars 54? So what we can do is number of groups is equal to 54 divided by 6, and this will give us 9 groups. Okay, so from here we know that so one group is equal to difference of 6. So how many groups is difference of 54? Okay, since he said the same number of goldfish and angelfish, okay, this is very important. So now we know the number of groups. How many goldfish did he buy? 9. Oh, that's it. All right, it's 9. There you go. So number of goldfish, since one group has only one goldfish, is equal to 9 times 1, equal to 9 lah. Okay, there you go. So this is one group. Just put here, one group is equal to one goldfish plus one angel fish. So I see over here. Okay, so difference of one group. So difference of one group is one goldfish. Then there you go. That's the answer. All right. So that's about it for paper 1 2013. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this video, subscribe down below. And if you want to get this paper, go to easy1.sg/PSLE to get this 10-year series. All right. See you in the next one. Bye bye.